cannot get an A in high school English if you do not know how to write a literary analysis paper. And the reason is it's usually the highest weighted assignment that you will have all year, often coming as a culminating that may be worth 20, 25, or maybe even 30% of your final grade. Because I feel so bad that this literary analysis paper is causing you so much stress, as a high school teacher of 15 years, I'm gonna walk you through how to make an A+ literary analysis thesis so that you start your paper off on the right foot. Let's dive right in.
First step of a literary analysis thesis is actually the easiest. All you need to include is the author and the title, and it is pretty self-explanatory. Congrats, you're 25% of the way done. The second thing we want to take a look at is the topic. What aspect of the text are you actually going to focus on in your writing? For literary analysis essays, they're really only going to be about 8 topics you're ever going to cover. 4 of them are going to exist inside of the text, which are going to be character, setting, conflict, and theme. And 4 of them will be outside of the text, because sometimes teachers, especially when you get to senior level courses, might ask you to make connections or give your opinions or judgment about the book or write about the choices that the author is making when they write. Now, you may be thinking, well, hey, isn't there 5 literary elements? And here is your first tip. Your topic is never, ever, ever going to be the plot. If you do that, your writing is just going to be summary. Save your plot points, i.e. what happens in the story, for your essay itself. Now, let's take a look at a couple examples you could use for topics, because if you're going to write an essay, you're never going to write about all characters in the story or all conflicts. You have to choose one. If we were going to write an essay about Macbeth, for example, we could write about one of the characters, such as Macbeth, Macduff, Lady Macbeth. The setting, we could look at like 10th century Scotland. If we were going to make a judgment, we'd have a review of the story in the text, or we could look at the effectiveness of Bill Shakespeare's use of metaphors. So within each of those, there's multiple topics you can choose, and you ultimately just have to choose one. The second tip I really want to focus on now is the idea that your topic is not going to be your thesis. Again, a topic would just give you summary, just like if you were to write about the plot. If you think your thesis is just about Macbeth, for example, as a character, all you could really write is that Macbeth is a character of the play, he wants to be the king, he kills a lot of people, and says some depressing lines. You don't really have a thesis. You again just have a summary of the story. So if you think that your plot or your topic is going to be your thesis, it's not, because it'll just give you some summary. Now, what we have so far in our thesis is our title and author, William Shakespeare's Macbeth, and the topic is Lady Macbeth. Now we move on to really what makes a literary analysis thesis. The first thing we have to figure out is argument. So what aspect of the topic are you going to focus on? Your argument is what you think the story means and why it is important. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Obviously, out of one topic, you can have many arguments. So for example, we know our topic is Lady Macbeth, but what are we ultimately going to argue? That her ambition has harmful effects because her desire for power leads to her downfall? Are we going to talk about her breaking gender roles, that she shows strength and control using her role as a woman to influence others? Or are we going to argue that her mental breakdown, aka her suicide, is a result of her deteriorating marriage to Macbeth? So one topic can ultimately have many arguments, and for this essay, what I want to focus on is the mental breakdown of Lady Macbeth. So now what we have is 3 parts of our thesis. We have our title and author, our topic of Lady Macbeth, and the argument that her suicide is a result of her deteriorating marriage to Macbeth. Now we need to add the 4th and final piece of this puzzle, which is the subtopics. So how you're going to organize your proof and your evidence within the writing itself. So you can think of subtopics like this. Either they're puzzle pieces, so break down your argument into smaller, easier parts, and it helps you put them together one by one. You can also think of subtopics like a map, so you know what you're going to write or talk about first, second, and third. Or consider it a movie preview, that your subtopics in your thesis tell the reader what's coming next, clues about the important things or aspects of your essay. In this case here, again, just like our topic could have many different arguments, our arguments can have many possible subtopics. For example, her suicide being a result of her deteriorating marriage to Macbeth could be from a lack of emotional support, a loss of the partnership, a shift in her power dynamics, or Macbeth's neglect and ambition. Or how about her guilt and regret, her isolation and madness? So there's a lot of possible subtopics, and for this, I'm going to choose power dynamics, neglect and ambition, and her guilt and regret. So now if we put all 4 of those together, this obviously does not sound very good. So what we have to do is add a few words just to make it flow. In William Shakespeare's Macbeth, Lady Macbeth's suicide is caused by her deteriorating marriage to Macbeth, comma, specifically their shift in power dynamics, Macbeth's neglect and ambition, and Lady Macbeth's guilt and regret. Now we have our A+ thesis. However, I'm going to add one final tip here, that the order does not matter. You can do title, topic, argument, subtopics, flip around the argument and subtopics, put the topic at the very end or at the very beginning. The order doesn't matter, it's really what sounds good for you. For example, we could do title, topic, subtopic, argument. So in William Shakespeare's Macbeth, Macbeth's ambition, corruption, and ruthlessness lead to his downfall. Or you could start with the topic. The three witches' influence on Macbeth, creation of confusion, and their embodiment of the supernatural are subtopics, demonstrate the theme of fate versus free will in William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Ta-da! You now have an A+ thesis because you have all four aspects, the title and author, the topic, the argument, and the subtopics all wrapped up into one fantastic sentence that is guaranteed to get you an A+, or at least start you on the path of writing an A+ paper.
Now, writing a great literary analysis paper is only half of the equation. The other half is probably studying for your exam or a test that is upcoming. If that's the case, use this video right here where I show you my best strategy for studying so you get as close to those 100% as possible. See you in the next one.